Good morning, all. Meine Damen und Herren, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this first ever Supplier Day in Vår Energi. My name is Anette Gjerda, and I'm the VP Contracts and Procurement in Vår Energi. It's with humbleness, pride and excitement I have the pleasure of welcoming you. Our agenda for today is to share our ambitions for this gathering. We will meet our new CEO, Torgeir Rød. We will share our operations and field development plans with you. And we have invited both IKM and Apply to share their thoughts on sustainability, new ways of working, and ripple effects, respectively. And we will also meet Vågrønn, our younger sister. A bit of a practical matter. Although we are not hosting a Q&A session today, we are interested in questions and comments if you have some. So there will be a link where you can post such questions and comments afterwards. Then I also wanted to share some information with you about our name, Vår Energi. Although we've had it for quite some time now, I think it's important just to reflect a bit on what it means, because it means, it reflects the Norwegian word spring, symbolizing a new beginning, growth, as well as a word for our energy. Implying that the company's employees and business partners work together as one team to ensure efficient production of resources that belongs to everyone, creating value to the society at large. And here we are together in this first Supplier Day for Vår Energi. So again, a warm welcome. So what are the ambitions for this Supplier Day in Vår Energi? The first ambition is that you, our suppliers, are the experts. We are highly dependent on you and your knowledge to deliver our vision, committed to deliver a better future. Which of course implies more than being able to be a profitable oil and gas company, we also need to ensure sustainability in all we do. Not only is this important to Vår Energi, but we also see the main topic of PSA this year, side by side with suppliers. We want to be side by side with you, and we want to learn and take actions on new ways of working. We do not have all the answers on our own. Traditionally, we have entered the market with our requests for quotations through normal tendering processes. This will of course also continue, but with changes in the frame conditions, we need to ensure we adapt to new ways of working, new collaborating platforms, contract models, to name some. The second ambition for today is to share some of our plans with you, to enable you understanding how, when, and where to provide and share knowledge and ideas of ways of working, enforcing safe and sustainable solutions. So, two main ambitions for today, and with these two main ambitions, I hope we are able to get you all involved in them. And now, ensuring we set the scene on safety, I hand over the word to our VP Safety and Sustainability, Ove Helle.
Thank you, Anette. Good morning, all. Good safety and sustainability performance are key enablers for success today and tomorrow. Safety first. In Vår Energi, we strongly believe that cooperation is required to get good results. The Always Safe initiative that we have with Equinor and Aker BP is a good example of that. Quite a few of you know this Always Safe initiative already. Some of you are using it within your companies. And for those of you who don't know what it is, it's a quarterly safety program providing material, discussion items and exercises focusing on 4 key topics. Those are avoid major accidents, prevent personal injuries, safe working at height and preventing dropped objects, and then finally, health and working environment. We encourage you to check it out, use the whole of it or the elements that you see fit for your company. And then over to sustainability. And not only the environmental part of it is key to us. You will hear more about how we will address this in our relations with you throughout today's sessions. And to learn more about Vår Energi's goals and ambitions, as well as performance, I encourage you to check out our recently published 2020 sustainability report that you find on our website, so that you can better learn what we are about and what we're doing in the field of sustainability. With that, I'll thank you for the attention and hand the word over to our CEO, Torgeir Rød.
Dear all, our vision is committed to deliver a better future. We are strongly committed to create maximum value for both our shareholders, community and society at large. And you, our suppliers, play a significant role. Oil and gas will continue to be a fundamental role in the global energy mix long into the future. However, real actions are required to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions and to tackle the climate challenge. Our commitment to deliver a better future therefore demands that you always have 2 thoughts in mind. We must keep addressing the climate issues whilst continuing to further explore and develop the Norwegian continental shelf, creating long-term value for our owners, partners and society at large. I may be in a new position, however, my fundamental principles have not changed. My focus areas and expectations to you suppliers are as follows. Safety is first on my list, always. That is the top priority. And the reason for this is it's all about people. It is so critical that we do not hurt people in our activities and operations. Keeping people safe has to do with putting this as our number 1 priority, for us and for you. The top priority for a company like Vår will be to prevent a major accident. Secondly, it is to avoid serious injuries for our personnel. And here I am a strong believer in the implementation of the life-saving rules from the IOGP. Then, talking about sustainability. Contributing to solving the climate challenge together with you as our suppliers, you sit on many of the solutions to solve the biggest challenge of our time. Meeting the highly ambitious climate targets set by both Vår Energi and the industry at large requires collaboration at a different level than we have ever seen in the past. Value creation. Again, together with you, combining effective and safe operations with local value creation is a prerequisite for our license to operate. And then for me, integrity is key. We are going to be open. We are going to respect each other. We're going to create trust. And we will bring bad news to the table. We invite, we involve and include to find the best solutions together. And here, collaboration is key. We perform and win together. We are in the era of collaboration, and those being best at working together and with others within the organization, with partners, stakeholders and suppliers will succeed. That is what winning looks like. So remember, the people is what makes an organization and the culture. People makes the difference. You makes the difference. So then, let me return to our vision. We are committed to deliver a better future. Creating a better future, a safer, more sustainable future, can only happen through a strong collaboration between us all. This is my expectations of you as a supplier. Though for each of us doing our part, doing it well with integrity and creating value, by our contributions, we shall deliver a better future for us all, the Norwegian continental shelf, the stakeholders, and generations to come. Thank you for your attention. Enjoy the rest of the program and stay safe. So by that, Anette, back to you.
Thank you, Torgeir. Very enthusiastic CEO we have, and it makes us a bit enthusiastic as well. So now it's about the main theme, or part of the main theme for today, which is new ways of working. And what do we mean by new ways of working is, of course, something we need to touch upon as well. But before we do that, I just wanted to say something about how becoming a supplier with Vår Energi is working. And it's probably well known to most of you, as we use the EPIM JQS for pre-qualification purposes. Soon to change name to Magnet JQS, actually. Following a pre-qualification in JQS, we also conduct a counterparty risk assessment, or a due diligence, when a new supplier is included in our vendor register. A due diligence process will analyze the main counterparty characteristics as economics and financial, ethics and reputation, ownership structure, organizational and consistency with the qualification areas. When entering the market, the main pillars in all we do is to enforce competition, equal treatment, and transparency. We focus on safety, sustainability, technical requirements, of course, and cost in our tender evaluations, well known to all of you. Moving forward, Vår Energi requires that all main suppliers must have a sustainability policy, with a stated ambition or plan for reducing and improving its environmental and social impact. Environmental and social performance will be weighted high and up to as much as 30% in tender evaluations where it is material and feasible. We have gathered more information as sustainability policy, our supply terms, code of ethics, as well as COVID information on our webpage. So please visit our webpage for more information about this. We have heard throughout the day, both with Torgeir, also myself touching upon it earlier on, that the vision of Vår Energi is to have two thoughts in mind at the same time. We want to build a contractual foundation and base that drives performance, supports cooperation, safety, and sustainability. We have reduced the frame agreement portfolio from 450 to 300, but still have work to do to lift this contract portfolio to a more strategic and sustainable level. Having a supplier day is impossible today without touching upon side by side with suppliers, as identified by the Norwegian Petroleum Safety Authorities as the main issue for 21. The focus from PSA reminds us about the importance of ensuring safety also during changed frame conditions. And although the primary focus is related to safety, we also find it relating to new ways of working and collaborating to ensure a safe and sustainable industry. So now back to the question of what new ways of working implies. How do we build a more sustainable industry together? And how can we increase the competitiveness on the Norwegian continental shelf? The Norway initiatives to standardize is one very important vehicle. This is amongst others done through joint industry improvement arena and the development of guidelines of standardized supply chain behavior. But we need to use it. We need to walk the talk. We need to walk the talk when it comes to active participation within various sharing initiatives. We are doing this within aviation, vessel sharing, emergency preparedness, of course, but can we do this in other areas as well, whilst still ensuring compliance with rules and regulations? Part of standardized supply chain behavior is also about listening to supplier expertise and engage suppliers earlier than we normally do, particularly on projects, modifications, and field developments. We need to align drivers across the supply chain, and we need to take action on the culture aspects of the way we are working. New ways of working could also imply other contract models and strategic partnering to achieve the competitive advantage of a standardized supply chain behavior. So rounding this off, how can you, as a supplier, become or continue to be a trusted partner to Vår Energi? So continuous focus on safety. We heard Ove talk about that. We heard Torgeir talk about that. It is the first and foremost what we need to do. Focus on safety. Then, of course, you need to deliver high-quality products and services. We need to work on standardization together. If you also focus on reducing time to market, that it will, of course, also be very, very helpful. Be open to new ways of working, collaboration models, strategic partnering. Propose and find good solutions. Learning from others, aligning drivers, aligning risks. So new ways of working, focus on sustainability and circular economy should bring us a step forward. Now, I believe Rune and Bjørn Tore is ready to share some of our plans with you. So, gentlemen, the scene is yours.
My name is Rune Ollevold, and I'm heading up the own-operated departments in Vår Energi. I'll provide you with a little bit of insight into our future plans and our future ambitions in the Goliat area and in the Boulder area. And with me here today, I have another gentleman.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Bjørn Tore Rivesen. I'm the VP of Field Development and Projects. And before Rune and me starts off telling you about our activities and future plans, we would like to show you a short movie, which basically is showing the plants in the Boulder area. Great movie.
Nice movie.
Yeah. The Balder license, that was the first ever production license to be awarded on the Norwegian continental shelf. And it also had the first oil discovery in Norway, even before Ekofisk. You, Rune, have been involved with this production license, PL001, all your professional career. And production has been ongoing since 1999. Why do we continue to invest and explore so much in this area, Rune?
Good question, Bjørn Tore. Our owners believe in the NCS and they believe in Vår Energi. And Vår Energi, we really believe there is a lot of unrealized potential in this area. New technology allows us to see things now that we haven't been able to see before. Huge amount of seismic data captured over decades of time has provided us better and better insight in what is in the subsurface in this area. And we, as well as other players, see a significant amount of opportunities. And we are therefore strengthening the infrastructure. And Bjørn Tore, could you elaborate a little bit about what we're actually doing in this to strengthen the infrastructure in the area?
Absolutely. And our starting point is, of course, the life extension of the existing infrastructure. The lifetime extension of the Balder FPU. And then we have the big Balder Future project, which contains the Jotun FPSO refurbishment and new infrastructure on the subsea and drilling of many, many more wells. The Jotun FPSO will be the central production unit in the area, receiving production from both old and new planned production wells. And it will also be built and refurbished to facilitate new discoveries in the area in the future. And we are doing even more with our facilities, aren't we, Rune?
Indeed, we are, Bjørn Tore. We have recently, over the last couple of years, upgraded the Ringhorn drilling rig significantly. We have started production drilling, and we will keep on drilling for new volumes for the foreseeable future. And another key activity is, of course, exploration. We are actively exploring in the area. And as mentioned, we're not really the only ones seeing potential here. Others see the same thing as we are seeing. And I expect field development and project will be kept very busy for the future years to come, Bjørn Tore. And maybe you can give a couple of comments on that.
Thanks for that, Rune. I think you are absolutely correct. In addition, we had Ove telling us about the sustainability agenda of the company earlier on. And we will also be focusing on electrification of our assets to contribute to the reduction of climate emissions. We see the possibility to reduce the CO2 footprint in this area as important for our company going forward. It is also important that you, the suppliers, contribute to this. We will come and ask you to play an important role in achieving our targets. Only together can we reach the ambitious CO2 emission reduction targets set by both the industry and the government.
Yeah, to summarize the activity level, both in terms of exploration, in terms of new developments, drilling, production wells, as well as other operating investments, as you elaborated too, will be high in the foreseeable future in the Balder area. It will be challenging at times, but first and foremost, this is exciting and really fun to be part of. And of course, there is something in it for you, our suppliers, as well, in the years ahead. There is no way we can do this without you. As suppliers, you will play a very important role in the development of this prosperous area in the future.
Yes, absolutely. And as outlined, we have several major activities ongoing, with the Balder Future being the biggest one, together with the Balder FSO upgrading. We have told you about our electrification project, and of course we hope and expect new tie-ins in the future. It could be our King Prince exploration well. It could come from third party. We know Eving and Mol are active in the neighborhood as well. And who knows what your next exploration well will bring, Runa. But to make this happen, we need you, our partners. You are the ones with the technical solutions to unlock the great potential we see in this area.
And at the very other end of the NCS, in the Barents Sea, we have Goliat as our other key operated hub. Goliat is another gem with potential, and we will keep Goliat going well into the 30s and hopefully well beyond. Regular infill drilling, continuous optimization of the asset itself, and later this decade, we are looking to if we could start evacuating gas from the Barents area. And Bjørn Tore, maybe you can tell us a little bit about our thoughts in gas evacuation from the Barents.
Absolutely, and this is exciting stuff, and it's a new industry potentially. And we are looking at several options, both area solution and also solution for Goliat specifically. One of the most exciting opportunities we are looking at is a combined solution where we export the gas from the Alke field, a gas discovery made many years ago, together with the Goliat gas resources. In this way, we may utilize the existing infrastructure. Currently, there are many ways of getting the gas to the market on the drawing board. We are looking at a collaborative effort with a pipeline from the Barents Sea to the Norwegian Sea. A tie-in option to the LNG plant on Melkøya is always and has been there for a long time, a viable option. But perhaps the most exciting work, Rune, is exploring the potential for developing a new blue ammonia plant in the area of Hammerfest, with capturing of the CO2 and storage in an offshore location. And we are continuing to explore the subsurface as well, aren't we, Rune?
Yes, absolutely. We are actively exploring in the area, and we are actually drilling an exploration well already this year. In fact, we are one of the few operators which are still investing heavily in the Barents Sea. And we gained several operatorships in the last licensing round. Goliat is a fantastic facility. It's very modern, very sophisticated, full level of digitalization, and it's powered from shore. And we must make the best possible use for it to the benefit of the local community and to the benefit for the industry in general. And you might add a few words to that, because there are other industry players also interested in Goliat, aren't there?
Yeah, yes, there are. Just to support your statement, Rune, there are operators knocking on our door to utilize Goliat as a production hub for their discoveries. And here too, we need all our suppliers and partners to realize the full potential in the area to the benefit of the region and value creation for society at large. Finally, on behalf of Rune and myself, I would like to thank you for listening in to our plans and activities in the years to come. A lot of exciting stuff. We need you to partner with. Now, back to Anette.
And then I have the pleasure of giving the word to Øystein Stjern from IKM. Welcome, Øystein.
Thank you, Anette. And I'm proud to be a part of your Supplier Day and appreciate the opportunity to talk to you all. I do represent IKM. and we're a group of companies, about 40 companies, located all around the world. We're privately owned, and we're founded back in 1989 by our owner, still owner, Ståle Kyllingstad. We have businesses within a large amount of the energy sector, from topside field development and subsea operation and maintenance, and obviously also now within clean energy and renewables. We have about 4.5 billion NOK revenue, so it's been quite a good growth from back in '89. I was challenged to talk about our way of thinking with regards to sustainability. And our vision is to strive to be the largest and most complete and competitive service provider within the energy sector. And energy is wide. And our core values that we started back in 2017 with a strategy process and started to see who are IKM. And one of the values that we pinpointed was responsible. And that's also sustainable. We see that we want to take responsibility both for our work and what we do, and we want to take responsibility globally for our part in the society. Obviously, we also have frame conditions in Norway that makes it possible for us to do our business. So moving forward with that, we defined our frame conditions. We tried to look at what actually do constrain us and what gives us opportunities. So we defined policies. You have the ESG part of it, and we had the QHSE part of it. And we also looked at how can our business, or how do our business contribute to or relate to the sustainability goals from the UN. And out of the 17 goals, we picked 7 that we saw were in line with our business, or where we could contribute with a small part, obviously, because this is globally, it's a large goal. So we'll try to do our small part. And I've picked out 3 of the goals that we saw that we could contribute to. And I'll try to give you some insight in that, because it's how do we operationalize our ambition? We could have ambitions. How do we do this for all practical matters? And it's easy just to state that we have this ambition, we do this, but how do we actually work with sustainability? So out of decent work and economic growth, as you can see, so we have 4 targets. The first one, diversify, innovate, and upgrade for economic productivity. Within IKM, we're always focused on technology part of our business. And to give you an example here, we've contributed to and manufactured the subsea motor for Ocean Renewable Power Company that actually do river generators. So by utilizing the knowledge that we had within the group, we're able to take a part of a project that was actually to have energy at places that you never had energy before. So to use our technology to contribute to economic productivity, we want to contribute that way. And also we have an all-electric ROV fleet that we continuously develop in order to reduce the environmental footprint and then upgrade for economic productivity. With regards to 8.5, we're involved in something called Youth Entrepreneurship Rogaland. I tried to translate that from Norwegian, so it has to be that way. But it's actually their ambition, and it's all in Norway, but we're contributing to the part in Rogaland. Their ambition is to build a bridge between school and the actual work that you do in our line of business as well. To be that bridge, to show them that you can use what you learn on school to take this in action and actually make stuff or do a service and so on. And it's important for us to contribute to that and promote youth employment, education, and training is obviously something we need to focus on to get the youth in. I saw I commented 8.5, it was obviously 8.6 I talked about now. We also contribute to Sola Ungdomsteam, which is for youths and kids that struggle with drugs, in order to get work training, get them on board, have them in their workshops, to help them out of a possible road that would lead nowhere. Yeah, for the 8.5 and the full employment and decent work with equal pay, obviously we want a broad range of people involved in our business, and whether or not it's no one in IKM, and we have this in our policies, should be harassed or treated badly based on their background or religion or anything, and we take that seriously. And also to know, for people with disabilities, their competence is the same. So it's all about valuing the competence and the person rather than abilities to move around or way we look and so on. For 8.8, labor rights and safe working environments. Obviously, safety is one of the licenses to operate within our business. And for labor rights, we always have had good dialogue with our unions and employee representatives. So I think also that's something we want. We want to contribute to the Norwegian model, where it's a balance. So that's some examples of what we do within decent work and economic growth. Build resistant infrastructure, promoting inclusive, sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation. This is basically highly relevant for all of our industry, how to upgrade industries and infrastructures for sustainability. We see it now with the windmills and the offshore wind farms, but we need to have two thoughts at the same time. Obviously, there's going to be a peak now entering 2022 for development plans, but we also see that Utsira Nord and other plans are coming for offshore wind farms. So this is all about, from our perspective, using what we know, using what we have, and make it possible to use it in a new line of business. And I think both Vår Energi and everyone has taken this, and their owners have taken this with the highest seriously. So we want to contribute that way. The environmental perspective is now a vital part of our decision processes, and the change is both client and supplier driven. Client driven because it's a demand from Vår Energi, obviously, to focus on this, but also supplier driven because it gives us an edge. So it helps us being more profitable, and it helps us get more work if we were able to make this turn. Yeah, moving over to climate action. This is also obviously a huge topic. What we've done, we've entered into ISO 14001 approval and certification for our businesses, because we want to evaluate and see what action we can take for environmental impact. So that's also, we see that climate action is also part of us now, because we measure and we do actions towards the UN goals. So how do we go from this over to services and what we actually do? For instance, I'm going to try to keep it short, but some examples. Life extension. We have examples doing preservation or maintaining old equipment rather than changing to new. That would give a larger lifetime for 15 to 20 years. That also gives a huge amount of savings. But the most important maybe is that you don't engage in the manufacturing of something new. You use something old and you make it work for the length or the duration that you need it to work. Preserving and doing this like businesses, we've done this on Goliath FPSO back in 2019. Also driven by the COVID-19, obviously digital cooperation has been more. It's coming more and more, and we see that the amount of travel related or management meeting and so on that we tend to do all around the world and in Norway, we've reduced the travels a lot. So management and meetings have been reduced. Localization, we try to establish where we see there are a need for our services. This is in order to reduce the footprint. And for chemicals, we see that new methodology and new chemicals and new way of thinking about this and using electrification instead of diesel, for instance, reduces the environmental impact. So this is some practical examples on how we can make a more sustainable business, but still doing what we're best at, providing services. So, and also I was challenged to say something about the cost reducing impact. We have done services also at this again at Goliath, where we have using add-on gate valve, which is a technology to keep the process running while doing maintenance. And we've used this multiple times. We do smart inspections with drones that help reduce the cost. Also done at Goliath. And for digitalization, we've tried to do our processes more digital. We have workshops around Norway where we use tabs and where the actual benefit is reducing the amount of administration around every task that we need to do. And the last thing that we've done also towards Vår Energi is bundling of services, trying to look at how can we collaborate better, both internally and with other suppliers, in order to present a better value proposition towards Vår Energi. So I think this is some examples on how we're thinking and how we would like to think, taking sustainability, acknowledging the change that's coming, and then moving forward with our services, but towards the existing industry and the new industry. The last I was challenged to say something about was how can we cooperate better? And this is probably a lot of text, but what we like to do is to think of a competence-centered service rather than a resource-centered service. The vital part that Vår Energi are in need of is our suppliers' competence and the services that we provide, all of the suppliers. So trying to look at to use the competence with a multi-skilled team rather than just an external resource in to another organization, we think brings better value for the clients. So that was my last thoughts for this session, and appreciate you all hearing and listening in, and wish you the best of luck with the rest of the day, Annette.
Thank you very much for sharing all of that with us. For sure, quite a lot going on. And I really like that you also bring these two thoughts in mind into the play, because this is really what it's all about. And sustainability, that might be a word that we will hear and have heard already quite a lot of times. So thanks a lot for sharing. And now I have the pleasure of welcoming Nina Andresen from Apply.
Thank you, Annette. I'm very pleased to be here today to talk about Apply and how we work systematically within the sustainability. First, I'm going to cover a little bit about who is Apply. Apply is a leading multidiscipline engineering company specializing in contracts across all project phases, from concept development and studies to completion and commissioning. We've been in this industry for more than 40 years, founded back in 1979. We're today around 1,200 people with a quite healthy backlog. We have offices in Stavanger, Bergen, Hammerfest, which I'm going to cover a lot about today, in addition to Krakow, Notodden, and the 400 people we have working in the sharp end, offshore and onshore. So, how do we work within sustainable solutions in the maintenance and modification market? This slide, I'm trying to demonstrate how we work from the ESG down to the everyday business of our engineers. The ESG is about responsible production and consumption, good health and well-being of our employees and those further down the food chain, in addition to climate action. Within the ESG, we're focusing on scope 1, 2, and 3, but we see that it's within scope 3 where we can have a major impact in our contracts together with our clients. We work according to ISO 14001, systematically looking at energy efficient and sustainable solution. We focus on energy reduction in design in a life cycle perspective. Every year we set company goals, looking at how we can do this more sustainable. This can be, for instance, looking at digitalization, reduction of chemicals, but it can also be using local suppliers and know-how, which we've been doing in Hammerfest on the Goliath contract. I have further slide later, which I will cover this subject further. Then on the contracts that we get and the larger call-offs, we do what we call a BAT, Best Available Technology Assessment. A BAT is where we look at, can we design or redesign? Can we minimize or reduce? Or can we substitute? All in the picture of reducing the environmental impact. A great example that we've had over this COVID period is emphasizing what we've been doing offshore for years. We have a concept that we call digital first. Can we execute scope without going there physically? And for the latest campaign in Goliath, we did, for instance, the prefabrication inspection, having most of the people sitting down in Stavanger, while the key people were walking around in Hammerfest industries, taking measurements and doing inspection and test in accordance to the input from the people sitting elsewhere. It's a great example of how to reduce the environmental impact. It doesn't have to be a complicated design, or it can also be easy use of accessible tools. The environmental change in the industry is also about increasing the mindset and the awareness of our people sitting doing design every day. So we've developed what we called an environmental screening checklist that we take up in the beginning of each study, reminding us of what we can look at to make a more sustainable solution for our client. It can be energy optimization, refurbishment, 3D printing, material selection, or reuse of material. On Goliath, we have, together with Vår Energi, come up with a surplus storage idea that we have up in Hammerfest on Polarbase. So basically, every time we get a new task, we check towards the surplus storage to verify if we have material that we can use for this task or that can cover the task for us, reducing both new procurement but also transport. As I mentioned, we've been working on Goliath for quite some time now. We've been there since the very beginning. And the HSE results have been quite amazing for the last few years. This, we believe, is good to the good cooperation and the one-team philosophy that we see by Vår Energi, but also together with all the other suppliers that come on board together with us. The Apply strategy has been, as earlier mentioned, to use local suppliers and local recruitment. And we've had a Hammerfest office now since the beginning, but we're also using the storage and the warehouse up in Polarbasa. To make this happen, we've been working strategically with regards to recruitment, visiting local high schools and regional universities, advertising locally, but also looking at when we apply for the offshore business. Having a dedicated part of those going for people living in the region. And I'm pleased to say that the last campaign that we had, we managed not only to get young people out of school staying in Hammerfest, but we also managed to get experienced people moving back home to Hammerfest in a long-term perspective. The partnership basis for Apply is not just a one thing, it's a part of our mindset, together with digitalization, using the lean process, and keeping the flexible organization. Basically, continuous improvement in everything we do to reduce time and cost and improving the business profitability, both for us and for our clients. Moving on to the partners, we've been leaving more than 100 million krona in Hammerfest since the beginning. So I believe this is a great picture of how, if you work strategically in a sustainable way, you can have the local competence there. And on the slide here, you can see some of the key players that we've been working on through the last years. But we still believe there is opportunities for further development, both within the current market and future development within the oil and gas. We see it both within the wide discipline within construction, but also the wide discipline within procurement of bulk, also installation material and consumables, and PPE. Looking at the history, it's been very challenging for many companies to establish themselves in Hammerfest. This because of the quite small industry compared to maybe Bergen and Stavanger with regards to oil and gas. And we believe if you work smarter together, we can secure more competence up north, performing maintenance, overhaul, and repair scope. One way of doing it, it's by sharing facilities. For instance, workshop facilities, having more than one company in there, sharing the cost and the tools. Another way is sharing the people. So basically, if a person is doing overhaul of a motor one day, he could be traveling offshore, working within maintenance and modification, offshore the next week, using his skills in both locations. We also believe that we can work smarter within the logistic facilities, sharing those. Having this knowledge can even pull this even further for our clients, being the integrator, joining together all of these skills and providing even better services within inspection, maintenance, and overhaul. So, with this fantastic picture of Hammerfest, I hope I've managed to cover some of the systematic way we work within sustainability and the effect that we've seen in Hammerfest, providing jobs up north, but also increasing the business. So with that, thank you, Anata, for inviting me to talk on behalf of Apply.
And thank you, Nina, for a very good and informative presentation. And I think it's fair to say that the parts on the ripple effect has been tremendous on what you have achieved in Hammerfest. So for sure, an example to follow. And I guess also what we have seen today is that through the presentations with both Apply and IKM, there's no doubt that we as an operator need the suppliers to actually be able to achieve and continue to strive for making this business more sustainable. And I said it again, sustainable. And now I have the pleasure of welcoming Olav, the CEO from Vår. The word is yours, Olav.
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm pleased to have the opportunity to present Vår, as well as the vast potential that offshore wind in Norway will represent for the supply industry. So if you just go to the next slide, please. Yes. Here you can see, of course, the development of Vår Energi. And Vår builds on a long-standing collaboration that already has created Vår Energi. We do have the same owners as Vår Energi, and the owners decided to establish a new company called Vår last year. So we are a little bit more than 6 months old as such, and we do have the same ownership shares or the same ownership structure, with ENI with some 70% ownership and High Tech Vision with 30% ownership. So if you can just go to the next slide, please. Yes. So just a brief introduction to Vår. We are a company focusing on renewable energy and infrastructure. We are a Norway-based company. We do have a headquarters in Stavanger and an office in Oslo. We will also focus on the Nordics and the Baltic altogether as a geographical scope. And we are an industrial player. We have the ambition to develop and own 1 gigawatt of renewable energy projects by 2030. That means that we will develop, build and operate, so we're going to be in the whole value chain as such. So if you go to the next slide, please. But I would like to start really with describing what is happening around us in the nearby countries. EU has very large ambitions within renewable energy going forward to 2050. And of the total 4,000 terawatt hours, some 1,600 terawatt hours will be offshore wind, a new generation of offshore wind by 2050, about 30 years from today. So that means that from a total installed capacity today of some 25 gigawatt, we will have 400 gigawatt installed by 2050, and that entails some 10,000 billion Norwegian krone in investments. Sorry. If you look on the Norwegian continental shelf and the bordering areas to Denmark and EU and UK, we do have large areas with some quite limited conflict areas, quite shallow water, good or very good wind conditions, and proximity to the markets. So of the 400 gigawatts that will be installed by 2050, we do believe that a large portion, not a large portion, sorry, but a significant part will be competitively built out in the Norwegian continental shelf. And that, of course, entails a lot of opportunities also for Norwegian suppliers. So if you go to the next slide, please. But then, if you look to Norway again, we have entered into partnerships for both of the Norwegian offshore areas, the Utsira Nord and Sørlige Nordsjø II. And these two areas are quite different in features and characteristics. If you start with Utsira Nord, the authorities have opened up for 1.5 gigawatt of offshore wind. The water depth is some 270 meters. And this is, of course, only suitable for floating offshore wind. And the main focus and purpose of these projects is to industrialize floating offshore wind and engage the Norwegian supply industry. What we do see is that the Norwegian supply industry are well suited and positioned to take a large portion of the contracts within floating offshore wind. And what is important when it comes to offshore wind and floating is that for the time being, that requires government support. And what we believe is important is, of course, to have what we call a utility scale floating offshore wind, a large offshore wind farm that will enable standardization so that we can get the cost down and make a major step towards having commercial operations within floating offshore wind, which will again open up, of course, a global market for floating offshore wind and also for the Norwegian supply industry. In that project, we have partnered up with Equinor. Equinor is the world leader in floating offshore wind, so we're very pleased to partner up with them. They're also the operator in the project. And when it comes to the business case and route to markets, we do see, of course, that there are a lot of different opportunities. And we'll also look into and exploit the possibility to enable or position ourselves to supply also offshore oil and gas installations with electricity in order to electrify these. So Balder and Grane is, of course, located not very far from Utsira Nord. Sørlige Nordsjø II is quite a different story altogether. One thing is that, yes, it is a large area, and the authorities has opened up for some 3 gigawatts. The water depth is around 60 meters plus, and mostly we believe that the project will be bottom fixed. And this can be developed as a total new industry altogether. It is a large area where we have competitive wind resources, and this could be a first step of really opening up a new industry in Norway. And the main purpose will be export of electricity to the continent and to UK, but also it will be connections to Norway. In that area, in Sørlige Nordsjø II, we have partnered up with Agder Energi. Agder Energi, of course, being a utility with a lot of long experience within electricity generation, also export cables, and of course, local supply chain, and also having the local knowledge about the stakeholders, etc. So we are very pleased with these two partnerships, and are now currently developing the projects. So if you just move to the next slide, please. Yes, so the initial focus are these two projects, and what we do now is that we are working every day on really maturing the concepts. We will get the guidelines and more insight on coming Friday, and based on that, we will work on what is called the notice, the application for exclusivity on these two areas. And we already started collaboration with the supply industry. And what we believe that we can do and how we can contribute is, of course, to, first of all, provide a long-term ambition for offshore wind in Norway. We were very pleased to hear today that Tina Bru, the Minister of Petroleum and Energy, announced that they will start also exploring for new additional areas of offshore wind in Norway on a conference. So this is a very good signal. We also believe that early engagement with the suppliers is crucial. We are, of course, dependent on a good cooperation with the suppliers, and we also need to make sure that the suppliers have the possibility and the time to also be ready to engage in the projects when they mature. And also innovation and technology development will be of great importance. And supply chain planning, we need to see that we have the capacity and the competence and the quality in place in a timely manner and work closely with the suppliers. The timeline that we anticipate might not be fully aligned with what Tina Bru, the Minister, said today, but we believe that the exclusivity to the acreages will be handed out first half next year. And so that is the timeline that we anticipate, but of course we get more details on coming Friday on that part. And then we will develop the company and look for more projects in the geographical area that we are focusing on, starting with Norwegian wind farms and development construction, and also grow the portfolio. And hopefully we will see that both projects or projects in both areas will come to operations within the end of this decade. So if you just move to the next slide, please. So what does it take for the Norwegian supply industry to seize the potential of offshore wind? We believe that you need to put in place a clear ambition and strategy for offshore wind. You need to understand, of course, the regulations and framework. You need to understand really the time scales and engagement of the different operators. You need to understand in which part of the supply chain that you will focus on. You need to see how you can leverage the knowledge that you have today, and of course also identify the gaps, make sure that you are also recruiting and training and retaining the people, also developing a business plan so that you are ready to embark on that. All in all, you need, of course, to understand the needs of the offshore wind value chain and develop the capabilities as you go along. And then I think also it's very important to have what we call a renewable mindset. We do have lower margins than conventional oil and gas. We heard today from Tina Bru that on Sørlige Nordsjø 2, there will be auctions. So it will be fierce competitions for providing, of course, and providing information and winning acreages. So this is a low margin industry. Standardization will be really the theme. It will be maybe more tailor-made solutions for floating offshore wind at Utsira Nord. But all in all, it is fair competition, and I think that the supply industry needs to take this into account and also look for standardized solutions, not that much of tailor-made all the time. So all in all, this is a great opportunity. It will be a lot of activity in Norway, but not at least also in our neighboring countries. And Norway do have the possibilities to embark on this and also be a large supplier or provider of offshore wind also for continental Europe. So by that, thank you very much.
And thank you for sharing this with us. And for sure, you touched upon standardization that we have also had quite a bit of during the presentation before you today. So I think that's also back to the suppliers, of course, and to ourselves as operator, that we need to ensure and enforce standardization in all we do. So before we round off, thanks so much for your attention. Thank you so much to all the speakers. And as I started, I'm still being humble and excited. Please don't hesitate to revert with comments or questions. We strive for excellence, and we believe we still have a way to go. And we need your help in doing so. That was even on rhyme. With that, I believe the message has been passed on. Let's walk the talk together. We need your help to put on the right shoes, to ensure safety, get the right pace, and compete in the run for our industry, a safe and sustainable industry. With that, thank you and stay safe.